In a vibrant town known for its bustling market, there lived a large, proud dog named Magnus. He was the loyal guardian of a kind cheesemaker named Elara. His duty was to protect the cart of precious cheeses as she sold them at the market. He took his job very seriously. At the end of every market day, Elara would reward Magnus' vigilance with a magnificent, juicy bone from the butcher. This wasn't just a scrap. It was a prime cut, a symbol of her gratitude. Magnus would carry it home with immense pride. Their route home crossed an ancient, beautifully carved stone bridge over a calm, crystal-clear river. Magnus loved this bridge. He would often stop to look over the edge, fascinated by the world reflected in the water below. One evening, the bone was particularly magnificent. As he crossed the bridge, he paused, as usual, to admire his reflection. But this time, he didn't see himself. He saw another dog, a menacing, large rival, holding an even bigger, more succulent bone in its jaws. A switch flipped in Magnus' mind. This wasn't a reflection, it was a challenger, and that challenger had a better prize. His own bone suddenly felt smaller, insufficient. A deep, possessive growl rumbled in his chest. He had to have that bigger bone. Without a second thought, driven by envy and greed, Magnus snapped his jaws at the rival in the water. He lunged with all his might to steal what he thought was a bigger prize. There was a tremendous splash. The icy water shocked him. His real, magnificent bone was instantly swept away by the current, lost forever. The rival and its bone had vanished. He was left treading water, confused and empty-jawed. He scrambled onto the riverbank, wet, shivering, and defeated. He had gained nothing. He had lost everything. He looked back at the water, now just showing his own sorry, dripping reflection. The illusion was gone, leaving only the cold truth. He slunk back to Elara's side, his tail between his legs, unable to meet her eyes. She had seen it all. She didn't scold him. Her silence was a heavier punishment than any bark. They walked home without a word, the trust between them fractured. That night, Magnus had no bone to gnaw on. He had no reward. He lay on his mat, not hungry for food, but hungry for the trust he had lost. He replayed his foolishness in his mind, understanding the terrible error he had made. The next market day was agony. Every time he looked at the cheeses, he remembered his failure. He was distracted, his guard was down. He felt he didn't deserve another bone, and he feared he would never get one. At the end of the day, Elara approached him. In her hand was not a bone, but a simple, old dog biscuit. It was a test. It was a chance to prove he had learned. Magnus looked at the biscuit, then up at Elara. He took it gently, with great humility. As they neared the bridge, Magnus' heart began to pound. The biscuit felt small in his mouth. He knew the test was coming. He could feel the urge to look down, to see if his reflection held something better. He stopped on the bridge. He looked at the water. There was his reflection, holding the plain biscuit. The memory of the cold water and the lost bone flashed in his mind. He saw the illusion for what it was, a trick of the mind. He realized the other dog was never a rival. It was only ever himself. His enemy was his own greed and his inability to be content with what he had. The value wasn't in the size of the bone, but in the love with which it was given. Magnus made a choice. He turned his head away from the reflection. He looked forward toward his home, toward his kind owner. He tightened his grip on the humble biscuit and kept walking. It was the hardest and greatest thing he had ever done.